We need to talk about reach on Instagram. Maybe you've seen this graphic floating around on blog posts by HypeAuditor, who sampled over 77 million posts to determine how different types of content perform on Instagram. I'm breaking down their findings and making some recommendations on the best Instagram formats for you to generate the most reach. Stay with me. I'm Pallen, a brand strategist. Welcome to my channel where I promise practical advice to build your brand. Today we're talking all about reach on Instagram specifically. I'm sure we'll also talk about engagement too, which in comparison to previous years is down for everyone. And there are reasons for it, which I'm going to explain. If you're like me, you probably feel the pressure of this. How do I spend the valuable minutes that I have on Instagram to grow while doing everything else that I need to do? And I have good news for you. I've got the answer. My Instagram growth checklist explains exactly how to spend your time on the platform to grow. Linked in the description below, totally free, my way of saying thanks for hanging out with me today. Now, coming back to that graphic that I mentioned at the top of the video, let's discuss performance of different content types on Instagram. I talk about this often on my YouTube channel, the different types of content that you can post on Instagram. Now, this is that graphic I mentioned from HypeAuditor. What is HypeAuditor? It is a all-in-one solution for influencer marketing, and this report came out. Several articles like this one cited it, but I want to draw attention to what you should take away from this. Look at this first category, content by type distribution. So this is showing what is most commonly posted on Instagram. For example, the most commonly posted type of content on Instagram remains image posts. That's 42%. Carousels came in at a 26, just over, percentage. And then we have 22 at Reels and then 9% video. So it gets more interesting as we move down this image. Estimated reach distribution. So not looking at what's most popular, but looking at what gets the highest reach. If you look at it by percentage basis, it is Reels. Reels is still number one, even though it's the third most popular option. It's actually the highest in terms of reach, which is interesting. This is probably the most important takeaway of this study that they've done. Let's look quickly at likes distribution, probably less important, but also interesting that Reels, again, even though third most popular, still has the most likes distribution, and then comments distribution, also interesting. Close to that first one, which is still images at 30%, but still, very interesting here, and definitely an argument could be made here about the merit of creating Reels if reach is your ultimate goal. Okay, for a second, let's switch gears from talking about reach to engagement. Reach is the number of unique users that see your Instagram post on any given day. And remember, because of algorithms, it won't be every single follower. Instagram is looking at early and overall engagement as a cue for just how many of your followers it should show your content. When I pull up my own Instagram and I browse through reach, best performing reach as of recent, purely organic, typically the posts that I'm seeing here are ones where I've taught people something, given a free resource, or told a story, something related to my life or reflection, for example. Here I told the story about when I created my business. I had almost 160 comments on there, which is high for me. So reach and engagement will typically coincide, right? Reach is the total number of people that have seen your post. Engagement is what specifically they've done to interact on that post. And remember, algorithms are looking at those early engagements, particularly those that come shortly after a post. So if it's a wedding announcement, an engagement announcement, those are examples of the types of posts that are bound to get lots of early engagement and are therefore shown to more followers of that account. Just posting is not going to guarantee that every single follower on your account sees your content. Continuing this dialogue about engagement, we're going to hop over to another study, this one by Later Blog, which is a popular social media scheduling tool. And this particular study looked at three things: carousel, image, and video. Note that it does not look at Reels. I wish it did, but even though it doesn't, there's still some interesting takeaways here. Over 3% engagement on carousels, a little bit lower on image, and even lower on video, right? And so they actually, in addition to comparing the different types, they also looked at overall reach and engagement. In this case, the difference between 2020 and 2022, and they're seeing overall that this is decreasing for all users. So if you found yourself in the position where you're thinking, wow, my reach has felt lower, it is. And the reason why is Instagram Reels, okay? They've been pretty public about Instagram's focus on Reels, up against TikTok and changes in the algorithm. So later in this study is recommending that if you're not creating Reels, you should be. They also give a few other good tips if Reels aren't jiving well for you. Again, based on now multiple studies, it's definitely the best way to get in front of new faces. But if you're not comfortable making them, user-generated content, so this is images from others, just make sure you always get permission to use those images. And really starting to go a little bit deeper into storytelling. I think even carousel posts are a really good example of this, right? And the reason that carousel posts can perform well, indicator in the algorithm, time spent, right? Looking, at someone's time spent on a single post. If it's a long time, Instagram goes, wow, people are interested in this. We see lots of people with all different types of carousels. It could be multiple photos, could be a photo dump, right? It could be behind the scenes. You get the idea. There's lots of different types. So just to round off this study, they're saying definitely start creating Reels. It's undeniable that this is a trend that's here to stay, at least for now. As well, though, don't ignore image carousel and video posts. You can see huge results, especially from carousel posts, if you do a few things. Focus on your community, experiment with your content, and really, I think stay consistent is what I would add to this. That's going to help with your engagement. Now, good advice in 2023 and beyond is to experiment with the different formats of Instagram. And here are some good references. So yes, you understand the importance of experimenting, but at this point you might be like, wait a second, what is this guy talking about? Carousels, single image posts, right? I've been moving through this quickly, and if you're more of a beginner, less familiar with all the different types of posts on Instagram, then I recommend checking out this complete guide by Stellar. I really think this is the best guide, at least that I've found, in terms of guiding you on content formats and types on Instagram. So it will break them down individually. The photo, which is, they're calling the ultimate Instagram post. That's how it started when it was created in 2010. What I like about this article is that it's giving you advantages and disadvantages, right? It spells it all out for you. The carousel is simply, multiple image or combined with video, post up to 10. It's got, again, all the constraints, limitations, as well as advantages and disadvantages. If you're trying to figure out how to mix or experiment with different content types on Instagram, they go through the video, they'll talk about Reels, right? This is, I think, almost a year old, this article, but it's still very relevant and not a lot has changed since this came out. So if you're wanting to get just a base understanding, this is a great post to go to. And I have to admit, I'm finding it really refreshing to see Instagram growth creators like my friend Lucas post that creating Reels is not absolutely essential to grow on the platform anymore. He posted recently this, photos are back on Instagram. Here's what you should post. He actually says carousel, that is the best kind of post. And that right now, carousels and Reels are neck and neck, right? So carousel is simply more than one image. They let you put lots of information. I'm actually scrolling through one of his carousels right now. Notice it's just text, 2 colors, very simple. He uses emojis and gives you ideas on even just titles here to get you started. So definitely go check him out. Go check out this post. I'll link to it below. He does like this little mini training, which I think is absolutely awesome. And at the end, did you swipe all the way to the end? Chances are you did. And by swiping, right, time spent on posts is increasing. In carousels, as we know from that last study, carousels have higher time spent typically than you'll find on video content. And that's why you should consider creating carousels. So you're probably gathering by now that reach might be a metric that we think is the most important sometimes, but deciding which format gives you the most is probably not the question that we should be asking or the right way to look at this. Back to Lucas, 1 second as we round off this idea, right? It's less important about which, content type you choose to post and more focused on the type of metrics that are going to amplify the number of people you reach. Really thinking about creating content that people are enticed to share. Notice in the caption, he puts this first, share this post, explicitly asking for it, right? So people know exactly what you want, what action you want them to take, right? This post is really, giving such good information that people are likely to save for reference later when they're working on their own Instagram accounts or content, as well as share, right? Very simple to share this. It's, why would you share a post like this? Because it's something that's going to be useful for your audience, right? If someone sees a post and they think, oh, I couldn't say it better myself, like a retweet on Twitter, right? The idea that they're sharing it to their audience because it's going to be of value. That's what you need to focus on, is creating content where you want that action to be taken. Saves are great. Shares are even better, right? Because in an instant, when someone shares your content, it's now being pushed out to the audience that they've worked hard to gather. And by focusing on content that people want to share, that is really how you amplify your audience quickly, by leveraging the audiences of others. Some food for thought as we think about the different Instagram formats and their reach, as well as the power that we have to create content, regardless of format, to multiply or amplify reach. Hopefully you've got some good ideas. If you've got any lingering questions, comment below. Let's keep the conversation going on down there. I respond to those personally. And if you enjoyed this video, give it a like. That helps other people discover these videos, which we work hard to create for you. And subscribe for more of my videos on branding, positioning, building, and promoting your brand. Next, I'm sharing a few videos I think you'll be interested in. I'm Pallen. Thanks for watching, and those videos are coming up next.